Hello, my friends. My name is Adam, and I'm on a quest to be the most prolific reviewer of all time. And to do that, I review a lot of different things, different forms of media. Mostly movies, though, because it's the easiest to watch a movie and, have an opinion about it very quickly. So I watched yesterday a movie that I was looking forward to. I'd seen it advertised a few different places, called Family Rental. It's a 2025 film starring Brendan Fraser, uh, Takehito Hira, and Mari Yamamoto, and other people. I'm not going to read the whole cast, although those people are not the most important. There are people who are more important, who I will tell you about in a moment. And Hikari, who is a Japanese director, she wrote this and she directed this film. So basically, Brendan Fraser plays Philip, and Philip is an actor who moved to Japan because he got a big role in a television commercial, and he thought that his career would do better in Japan. But it's been a big struggle for him to succeed in Japan, and he gets this random role out of the blue. He's hired by this company who wants him to be a sad white guy at a Japanese funeral, but it's not really a funeral. It's um, like some guy hired this company to make a funeral because he was feeling down and he wanted kind of some support. So it's basically him imagining what people would say during his funeral. And then after the funeral, so he really doesn't know, Philip, the character, doesn't really know what he's doing. And then later he gets approached by the head of this company, this family rental company, because they need a token white guy. And he's like very upfront about it. Like, we need a token white guy in our company. And basically, if people need a white guy, they'll hire you. And so Philip is he doesn't really understand the concept of this in the beginning, but I don't know. I've heard of this before. I think this is one of those things that you hear about in Japan where people will, and it's not just Japan, right? Like in Poland, where I live, uh, people are often, especially like in the movie, if you are gay or lesbian, often when you go to weddings or family events, you'll be asked about if you have a boyfriend, if you have a girlfriend, and sometimes instead of like, because there's conflict about your sexuality, so you will hire somebody to pretend to be your boyfriend, your girlfriend. So, and I'm sure that happens in every culture where that is a problem, but not just that. Like, you might need a situation where you're trying to impress your boss and you want to have like a spouse. You're not married or anything, but you want to have a spouse who seems to be like very impressive, so your boss is impressed with you. That's the basic idea of this family rental company. But in Japan, so the the things that they do are very Japanese. So there's this one service that they offer, which is an apology service, which is like very weird. But anyway, so basically, men who are having affairs, hire them to send someone to portray their mistresses, and they will go and they will apologize to the wife as the mistress, which is really weird. And the movie says that this is weird. It's not like that they're really gung ho about it, but the the whole idea is not really questioned. It's kind of like celebrated as something that Japanese people need because therapy is stigmatized. And I'm not sure that that's actually entirely the case. I think it's closeted or overt homophobia in one case, and then in another case is this sort of like social front, like a woman hires the the company so that the white guy can pretend to be the father of this girl. I'll talk more about that in a moment. And then there's this the other main story is that the Philip is hired to be a writer because this woman thinks her father, who is an actor, has been forgotten and he feels forgotten. But basically, he's not worried about the general public. He has this thing from his past that he wants to do, and his daughter is preventing him from doing it. And then the movie is about what happens with that and Philip. But yeah, to talk a little bit more about the plot about the daughter, yeah, it's portrayed as being like this positive thing that Philip is doing, but the daughter has a real father, right? And the movie doesn't really go into why he's missing or why the mother is like saying that this guy like it's just so weird. It's very very weird because I think it's one thing to pretend to be like a writer. It's one thing to pretend to be a husband for a woman who is already married to her lesbian lover. I'm sorry that I said it that way. I don't know, but it's one thing to for that because those are adults, right? But to pretend to be a child's father, and the movie is portraying it like, yeah, yeah, it's fine, because the mother can't be honest because she wants her daughter to be in a good school. But her daughter is like, why did you lie to me? He's an actor, and like the movie like portrays it like, oh yeah, they're gonna have a relationship at the end, like this like 50-year-old white guy is gonna be a surrogate father to this daughter, and the only reason they met each other is because they he was hired, right? I think that's really really weird, and that issue is not explored enough, and I think the movie says it's okay, so we're supposed to say that it's okay. And then there are things in the movie that the movie says are not okay, and we're supposed to say that they're not okay. Like the apology service. Like they're not okay because one of the employees gets slapped. So that's not okay, but being a father to somebody who desperately wants a father, that's okay. I don't know. I think the movie was presented as being this sort of, you know, sort of feel good story about this actor who, learns about himself by doing this. And in the movie, it's not actually, he does learn about himself, but he also teaches other people. And it kind of appears a little bit to be like this white savior kind of thing, but I don't think it quite is because the the situations are not resolved. This is going to continue. The business seems to be thriving, even though the guy has said that there are clear problems with this, what we're doing. So he doesn't actually save anyone, so he's not actually a white savior. And the other part is that I think because it's a Japanese writer, like the movie is told from Philip's perspective, but there are scenes that have nothing to do with Philip. So, I mean, Philip is talked about because he's sort of the catalyst. Like, the mother has scenes with her daughter that are not connected to Philip. I mean, they're connected to him because she hired him, but they're about that relationship between the daughter. And then there is a scene where Philip gets arrested, and so they are talking about Philip, but the company has this kind of like meeting, and it's about what's going on in the company. So not a white savior thing because it is from the Japan. It's about a Japanese director thinking about what Philip's perspective would be on this. So it makes sense. But is it a feel good inspirational movie? No, it's not a feel bad movie because it doesn't dwell on any of these issues, right? But it's not also a very substantial movie. It's kind of forgettable, to be honest. And I think Brendan Fraser, I think people like Brendan Fraser because of his career trajectory, but I don't think that Brendan Fraser is actually that great of an actor. I don't have anything wrong with him. Like, he's perfectly pleasant and he does an okay job in this, but he's not he's not an exceptionally great actor. So it's a mediocre performance. Not mediocre, because that sounds a bit harsh. It's an acceptable performance in a mediocre movie. That's what I think about it. But have you seen Rental Family? I would give it like a 6 out of 10. What would your rating be? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do, please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of March, which is a bit of a stretch goal, but who knows? We'll see. All right. Thank you. Bye bye.